Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Florence Amaremu. How are you guys doing? Hope you all are doing great. So guys, today we'll be cutting princess dart bustier. Before we go on with the video, I really want to appreciate each and every one of us that have been supporting my channel, that supported my channel. I appreciate you all. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you all. And for those of us that are just joining the family, you are welcome. Thank you all. In this channel, we do braided wigs. Yes, we do braided wigs, fashion, draft pattern drafting, and a lot more. You will see something interesting that will make you stick around. Thank you so much. Without talking too much, without wasting up much of our time, let's just dive straight to the video. So what we need, of course, we need the fabric, our French curve, chalk, straight ruler, and a tape. So I will go ahead and take out the portion we need for the top, the amount I will be needing for the blouse. So this is the measurement we'll be needing for to cut out the blouse. I have the bust measurement, waist measurement, underbust, round underbust, shoulder, half length, and nipple to nipple measurement. I need to do, the first thing I will be going ahead to do right now is to get the neck width and the shoulder. So the neck width, I'll be taking 3.5 inches. I'll be taking 3.5 inches for the neck width. So the shoulder is 16 divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. We know shoulder you divide by 2, your bust, waist, underbust you divide by 4. So the shoulder, when you divide 16 by 2, I got 8 inches. I'll be adding ½ inch for sewing allowance. Point at my shoulder slant, I will be going down by 1 inch. I went down by 1 inch. So next I will need to do is to connect my shoulder slant to my neck width. I've connected my shoulder slant to my neck width. Next I will need to do right now, I will be taking, now I want to take my armhole length where I will make my armhole curve. So at this point, at the shoulder slant, if you watch, I'm not placing my tape at the top, at the top right here. I'm placing the tape where I took the shoulder slant. I place it right there, take my 9.5 inches. I've taken my 9.5 inches. So at this point, I'll be constructing my armhole curve. So to get my armhole curve, I will be imputing my bust measurement at that 9.5 inches. My bust measurement is 42. I'll be dividing the 42 by 4. It will give 10.5 inches. I will be adding 3.5 inches to the measurement. The bust measurement I took right here is to enable me to create my curve. I'm using this measurement right now just to create my curve. I will extend the line let me have a straight line for this armhole where we'll be constructing the curve. That will be, at that point we will now construct the armhole. So we'll take the midpoint of this arm of the armhole. This is 9.5. The midpoint will be 4.25. At that point, 4.25. I'll be coming in by 1/2 inch. Using my French curve, I'll be creating the curve, connecting this point to the 1/2 inch we went in. Then from here I will connect it to the shoulder. So I will place my curve like so. I made a curve. At the 1/2 inch in, I will connect it to the shoulder point. You can also make it with a free hand. If you can make your perfect curve with your free hand, there is no problem with that. We'll go ahead to input the underbust. Underbust length is 15.5. I'll be inputting that. That's the half length. Guys, I told you, I said, excuse me, that the blouse, I'll be attaching it with flay. I'll be attaching flay to it. The down part will be flay. So I will be using just the half length for the half length for the length of this blouse. I mean the upper part of the blouse. So the half length is 16.5. 16.5 right there. This we are cutting preset that. One thing with preset that is that once you cut the curve, it's gonna make your the down part to be short. So we'll be adding, instead of adding 1.5, 1 inch for sewing allowance, I'll be adding 2 inches so that by the time I finish joining it, my length is not gonna be short. I will let you guys know at the end of the video what I mean by that. So I will go ahead and add 2 inches to it. Let's connect all the points that we have traced out. We have our underbust measurement. And this is 2 inches. I said for the allowance, sewing allowance. It's better to add more than to have it short. Now the bust, don't forget our bust is right here. Line. Actually, if you want, you can calculate the armhole by using your bust measurement. Using the bust measurement, you divide it by 6, add 1.5 to 8. But because my client says she doesn't want the armhole to be excuse me, the armhole to be tight, so that's why I added 1 more inch, which is I took 9.5 inches, depending on how, use the bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. If I should calculate it like so, what I will be having is 8.5. So this point right here should be her length for the armhole. But because she says she doesn't want it too tight, so I added 1 more inch to it. Strut the princess dart. I'll be taking nipple to nipple measurements. I'll be taking nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches from the point of the one nipple to the neck. The span is 8 inches. So you divide that by 2 inches will give us 4. So I will be taking 4 inches like so. Let's take the 4 inches straight before we start taking out. I just want us to, I don't want to confuse us more on how this is being done. So I've taken the 4 inches, that's the span, bust to nipple. I've taken the measurement. So at this point, I'll be reducing it by ½ inch from the underbust to where the length of the top, the blouse. I will be reducing it by 0.5. Instead of taking the 4 inches we took, I will be going in by ½ inch. I won't be doing that on the bust line. I'm only reducing it at the underbust and the waist line. Of course, we have to extend it down to the length where you want the length of your blouse to get to. So let's take a straight line at this point. Now that we have gone in by 0.5, I will now connect it to the bust point. The next step will be at which point we'll connect this to create the princess dart. The shoulder slant, I'll place my tape right there, get the length up to the point shoulder, up to the bust line. I will get the midpoint. I will get the total length right here, which is 9.5. Half of 9.5, 3/4. So it will give us 4 3/4. So 4 3/4 is right here, which is right here. I will now connect this point to that. You can use your freehand sketch to do it, or you can use the French curve also to connect it. It doesn't matter. If you have a perfect how to create your perfect curve, you do that. So I will use that to connect presets that. So we've gotten the curve right there. At the bust right here, at the bust line, I'll be going up by 1 inch. All these measurements will depend on the size of the on the size, just as we have small, S large, large, medium, extra large, SS large, depending on how big or small the person is. So I'm making this dress for a large size measurement. But if you want a medium size measurement, that means you have to be going down by, like this point. At this point, I'll be going up by 1 inch. If it's for the size of a extra large, you know, definitely you're gonna add like 1.5 or 1.25, depending on the size of the measurement you are working with. If it's someone smaller, you can go down by 0.75. It all depends on the size you are working with. So for this measurement, I'll be going up by 1 inch and I'll coming down by 1 inch. At the armhole length, armhole, at that curve that will connect the curve to meet at the bust line, I will be taking, total length I will be taking here is 1.5. The essence of taking 1.5, to cut out 1.5 is just to have this place to be curved. When you cut out here is already, here will be short, and it will give this place a kind of puffy look. Just that's the essence of just cutting out here and creating the curve. So the total what I'll be taking out at this point will be 1.5. That 1.5, I will distribute it on this at this point. So I'm not going to place the 1.5 just like so. So I will distribute it on both sides. At this point, I will take 0.75. At the line here, I will take 0.75 on both sides. Total will be 1.5. 0.75 on this side and 0.75 on this other side. The next thing I will do is to connect this 0.75 that I've done on this side. I will connect it down to this point. 0.75 excuse me, that I have done on this side. I will connect it to this point. So we have a perfect. So the next thing I will be doing, because when we cut it out like this side, the shoulder right here will be short. So what I will do, I will extend this line. I will just extend it out. You can take 1.5 or 1 inch, just extend it. 1.5 or 1 inch is good to be on the safe. I always tell people, make it SS. It's better to be in the SS size than having your fabric short. Was in SS, you can always correct it, but once it's short, and that is it. So we'll be extending it out by 1 inch or 1.5, depending on how big you want it. So I took 1 inch right there. I extended this princess line, the middle line. I extended it out by 1 inch. So with this line also, I will extend it out. We know that once we extend it out, our curve is not going to be on this line anymore, because we extended it out. The curve, the armhole curve will not be on this point anymore because of this extension we have here. So what we need to do is to connect that extension, connect this point that we extended, this princess that we extended out, just connect it to the bust line. I hope I'm making sense. I only extended it out definitely when we extend it out, the armhole curve will not, I'm just talking right from the point we extended, not up to, I'm not talking about up to the shoulder slant. I'm talking about right here at the process that this point here, this armhole curve will not, you know, line up anymore right here. So it will line with the extended point. So what I will do right now, I just want to connect it to that point. So now we want to create the curve at the downside. We have created the curve. We have created the preset that will give us the curve at the bust. Now is for us to create the down part. So I will be taking 2 inches on this side. 2 inches, as I said earlier, depending on the size you are working with. Let me be sure. Oh yeah, we've taken 2 inches at this point. So I will create a straight line. I'm going to create a straight line. The 2 inches I took, I'll be making a straight line like so. So at these 2 inches here, we remember guys that we went down by 1 inch and 1 inch at the upper part of the bust and the lower part of the bust. So we join the upper part of the 1 inch that we took from the bust, we join it just to create for the princess that. Now the 1 inch we took on the lower part of the bust, we will use it to create for the down part of the curve. So what I will do right now, I will be connecting this straight line that we have. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I will be connecting this straight line, this point. We know we had a straight line here, so I will just connect it to this point just to create our curve. Now is for us to impute our measurement. The bust is 10.5. And I added 3.5 inches. Guys, remember, once we cut out this point, that 1.5 inches that we added, that we are going to take out at the princess that's right here, remember to add it back to the bust line. One thing with sewing is whatever you take out any point at this point, whatever you want to take out a portion of a measurement, you have to replace it back. If not, your sewing will be short or too tight for your client. So to eliminate that, we will be imputing this portion that we'll be cutting out. We will have to place it back so that this, by the time we cut out here and join it, this armhole is not going to be short. So normally I'm supposed to add, this is 10.5. I'm supposed to have 2 inches to the sewing allowance since we don't have anything to add on this line. So I'll be that's why I added I'll be putting in this 1.5. When I put 1.5, that's why I added 3 inches or 3.5 to accommodate this portion. Always trim out once it's excess, then once it's short, and that is it. So we have imputed the one for the bust. So the next one I will be inputting is the underbust. Measurement is 36. My underboss measurement is 36. 36, which is divided by 4, we have 9 inches. 9 inches right there. As I said earlier, I added 3.5 inches. I hope you guys can see. While my waist measurement is 37, 37 divided by 4 will give us 9.25. 9.25. Remember guys, we have, see the ones we'll be taking out right here is 2 inches. So we have to replace these ones that will be cutting out. We have to replace it right here. So at this point, this is 9.25. Let's add the 2 inches to it. This is the 2 inches. Then I will be adding my 2 inches or 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance, depending on how you want the excess out. I'll be adding my 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. So we've already added the we've added this portion that we are cutting out. So same thing, we'll now extend it down. Shop the neck because we only got the neck width. Now I'll be cutting out the neck depth. I will be using 4 inches for the neck depth. Zip allowance out first before we go ahead to impute the measurement. I'll be using 1.5 inch for the zip allowance. So I will take that down at just so I'm getting. I'm just going ahead to connect the. We'll get our neck width, which is 3.5. Get the shoulder, which is 16 divided by 2 will give us 8. I will be adding half inch to it. At this point, I will be going down to have my shoulder slant. I went down by 1 inch. I will connect this 1 inch shoulder slant right here. I will connect it to the neck width just to have a straight slant. Now that we've gotten the shoulder slant, at the slant right here, I will be taking my armhole length, which is 9.5. The underbust length is 15.5. Half length is 16.5. If you remember guys, we took the length of the front, we added 2 inches. So the back, I'll be adding just 1 inch. Have a straight line right there, which is actually I want it to be on the same, I want the neckline to be the same with that of the back. or a little bit. Let me just take the back a little bit up. So I will take 3.5. Let's create our the princess dart. Remember, the nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. We divide it by 2, which is 4 right here. The rate measurement, and you work with that. So I'll be taking half of the half length right here. I'll be taking, this is 9.5. 9.5 will give us 4 3/4 will be right here. Necessary mean for you to, just the way we did that in the front, half inch here, half inch on this side, half inch. You can actually leave it the real measurement and make your, because the back is not going to have any curve. Here is 4 inches. Let me just put it. This is the bust palm. The bust palm right here. That's nipple to nipple. I mean the nipple to nipple measurement. We have it right here. We just need to connect it to this point. Connect it to that point. So now let's impute our measurement. 42 divided by 4 will give us 10. 10.5. We are inputting it right now. I will put in 1.5 inch for sewing. For the underboss, 36 inches divided by 4 will give us 9. I will put that right here. I will put 1.5. You know what, guys? Let me put 2 inches because I will be joining this. By the time I join it, it will reduce the. Let me put 2 inches for the sewing allowance. I will do the same thing for the waist, which is 37 divided by 4 will give us 9.25. Add 2 inches to it. Now I will connect this point to that just to create my curve. I'll go ahead and cut it out. Thank you very much for watching. Please, if you find it difficult, the video useful, please don't forget to subscribe. Support your girl. Support your girl, please. If you find it useful, leave me a comment in the comment section. Ask me any questions. I will willingly, gladly to reply you. Thank you all for watching. And please subscribe, turn on your bell notification to get notified each time I upload a new video. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.